at exactly 2:47 p.m. On the 19th of October 2025, inside the secure logistics wing of Hazrat Shah Jalal Airport in Dhaka, a Russian Rosatom official hit send on a short message to Moscow. Package arrived. Secure. At that same instant, 12 Ukrainian Wild Hornet FPV drones screamed across the Bangladeshi sky at nearly 150 miles per hour, locked on their target. Those drones were streaking toward a cargo warehouse storing 18 tons of classified Rupert nuclear components. Countdown. 15 seconds. Putin had believed this shipment was as secure as the Kremlin's vault. He was wrong. For an entire month, Ukraine had been running a high-stakes shell game. With help from American Starlink data, they tracked every movement of that convoy. Ukrainian hackers had infiltrated the Russian logistics network and inserted a single line of false data. One container supposedly carried flammable industrial chemicals. In reality, it was packed with dormant Wild Hornet drones waiting for their signal. The method of activation was pure genius, no radio frequency that could be jammed or traced. From the Indian border, a LEA-100 reconnaissance drone hovered high above, using a 4 Kelvin's infrared camera to scan barcodes until it found the right container. Once confirmed, it fired an encoded infrared pulse, a silent Morse-like signal that woke the swarm. That shipment was the lifeblood of Russia's 4-gigawatt Rupert nuclear power plant. Destroying that cargo would mean an 18-month delay, a crippling loss of prestige, and India questioning Moscow's ability to protect its own assets. But how do you pull off a strike 4,000 miles deep into enemy territory in broad daylight when the target is already inside their fortress? At 2:30 p.m. 50 miles from Dhaka, a plain cargo truck waited in a humid jungle clearing. The truck's side panels folded down, revealing 3 Gol mothership drones rising into the air. Their payload bays opened, releasing 12 Wild Hornet FPVs that did not scatter, they moved as one, descending to just 50 feet above the Bangladeshi delta. At that height, they flew beneath the radar horizon, using Earth's curvature as a shield. Inside the truck, the lead pilot's world was a 150 miles per hour stream of video through his FPV goggles. He knew even a 1-second signal loss could doom the mission. High above, the LEA-100 recon drone zoomed in with its infrared lens, piercing the warehouse roof to lock onto the container's QR code. A single encrypted message flashed on his display. Target confirmed. The swarm was on final approach, but directly ahead lay an American-made radar system just seconds away from detecting them. Inside Dhaka's Air Defense Command Center, an operator leaned forward. Amid the routine tracks of commercial airliners, he noticed something off. 12 tiny contacts flying too low and too fast. He hit the alert button. Sirens blared, red lights flashed. Unidentified tracks bearing 290. Low altitude, high speed, he shouted. The system automatically tagged the lead contact as the primary threat. On the airport perimeter, a soldier received the order, raised his M16, and fired. The drone exploded in a puff of smoke and plastic. Cheers broke out in the command room, first blood. The celebration lasted only 4 seconds. The other 11 drones did not scatter or flinch. They held formation, keeping their exact course and speed. The downed unit had been a $500 decoy and the defenders had fallen for it. The Bangladeshi commander realized this was a professional attack and grabbed the red phone, a direct line to Rosatom's security chief. "Sir, we have a confirmed drone swarm heading straight for your cargo," he reported. "This is a coordinated attack." The Russian officer didn't wait to hear more. He dropped the phone, grabbed his encrypted radio, and issued the code phrase, "Threat is real. Activate engagement protocols now." 2 miles away, the concealed Panzer S-1 air defense unit roared to life. Its powerful radar spun up, electronic eyes sweeping the skies for incoming threats. The Ukrainians had lost their element of surprise. The silent infiltration was over now. They were flying straight into the teeth of a fully alert, multi-million-dollar defense system hunting them down. At 2:49 p.m., the Panzer radar flooded the airspace, locking onto the area where the 11 drones flew. On paper, the engagement should have been over in seconds. But instead, the Ukrainian swarm executed a plan both brilliant and reckless. 4 drones suddenly broke from formation and veered off from the main group. Instead of diving on the real target, those 4 dropped powdered thermite over a pile of empty shipping containers 50 yards away. Within moments, the powder ignited into a blinding 2,000-degree blaze, drawing every eye, every fire hose, and every panicked soldier toward the wrong place. While chaos erupted below, the LEA-100 recon drone stayed locked on the true target from high above. It didn't rely on radio signals that could be jammed. Instead, it painted the warehouse roof with a coded infrared laser, silently designating the container that held Russia's nuclear cargo. The Ukrainians hadn't only smuggled drones, they'd hidden a small modified lithium battery pack inside the container's wall. The laser's precise infrared frequency acted as a switch, forcing the battery to short-circuit. A slow, unseen fire began to smolder from within, invisible to the naked eye but deadly all the same. Inside the Russian command office, a technician squinted at a thermal monitor. One of the containers, marked 77B, registered 3.6 degrees warmer than the rest. It was a tiny, almost invisible detail, but one that didn't make sense. The Russians realized the decoy fire wasn't their only problem. Something was happening to the real cargo. They needed better eyes in the sky. A call went out. An IL-20 AWACS plane began taxiing from a nearby airbase to expose the entire Ukrainian operation. But at 2:50 p.m., the plane was still 10 minutes away. Too late. On the ground, the Special Operations Unit guarding the shipment received new orders. Evacuate the primary asset now. 2 soldiers from that team lifted their Igla-S manpads, scanning the sky for the heat signatures of the approaching drones. The moment they got a lock, a piercing tone screamed in the Ukrainian pilot's headset missile lock. He yanked the control stick hard left, pulling a brutal 9G turn as the missile streaked past his camera lens. The Russians began moving the container, but the black smoke from the thermite blaze, the very smoke meant to conceal the drones, now became a blinding curtain. The pilot was nearly flying blind, guided only by instruments, trapped in a storm of his own making while heat-seeking missiles hunted him. At 2:51 p.m., another Igla-S missile streaked toward the lead drone. The pilot had no time to dodge, he didn't need to. With a tap of his control stick, the drone ejected a single ALE-47 decoy flare, a tiny star burning hotter and brighter than any engine. The missile broke lock and veered away, detonating harmlessly in the sky. The first threat was neutralized, but the pilot was still flying blind through a wall of black smoke, and the target was being moved. How could he strike something he couldn't see? The answer came from high above. The LEA-100 drone's infrared eyes cut through the haze, painting a laser mark on the moving container below. Inside the pilot's FPV goggles, a new symbol appeared, a glowing green targeting box locked on the container's live position. It was his digital breadcrumb trail through the chaos. He no longer saw the missiles or soldiers, only that box guiding him home. 6 drones, their decoys spent, peeled off to engage the Russian manpads teams, forcing them into cover. The remaining 5 followed the laser-guided path through the smoke. They burst from the haze like ghosts, racing toward the container. Russian soldiers looked up just in time to see 5 Hornets diving straight at them. The 5 remaining drones followed their laser-guided path, slicing through the smoke like ghosts. The Russian soldiers moving the container barely had time to react. In the next heartbeat, 5 Hornets slammed into the target thermobaric warheads, erupting into a 1,000 psi pressure wave of pure fire. The 18-ton container disintegrated in an instant. The shield was broken, the pantsir deceived, and the path now clear. The final and most catastrophic phase of the strike was about to begin. From Kyiv, a single command flashed through encrypted channels. Ignite. At 2 hours, 51 minutes and 5 seconds p.m., each of the 5 drones hit its assigned coordinate on the container's surface with surgical precision. For a fraction of a second, silence ruled. Then the thermobaric charges functioned exactly as engineered. Instead of a loud bang, there came a deep, terrifying whoosh, the sound of air itself catching fire. The Russian container was instantly engulfed in a white-hot plasma sphere. The warheads fused, delayed by exactly 1.1 seconds, long enough for the shaped charge to punch a hole first. Only then did the main thermobaric payload ignite, releasing a cloud of aerosolized fuel that mixed perfectly with the air inside. The resulting detonation didn't simply blast outward, it created a sustained 2,500-degree pressure wave that used the warehouse's oxygen as fuel. The concrete walls reflected the shock instead of absorbing it, turning the structure into a massive pressure cooker. Inside, the Russian equipment was being cooked alive. Steel support beams, rated to bear tons of weight, twisted like ribbons under the heat. The concrete roof, never built to withstand such force, cracked and collapsed inward. The explosion's energy surged through electrical lines, frying every server in the logistics office. In seconds, all data shipping manifests, tracking codes, proof of delivery was erased. On the ground, chaos reigned. Sirens wailed, but fire trucks couldn't get near the inferno. The black acrid smoke forced the shutdown of Hazrat Shah Jalal, one of Asia's busiest airports. All flights were grounded for 6 hours, creating an international incident that Moscow could not hide. There was no rescue, nothing left to save. Hours later, a MAX satellite passed overhead and captured the aftermath. A 50-foot crater of blackened metal where the state-of-the-art warehouse once stood. The physical destruction was immense, but the true impact was in the numbers: 18 tons of critical nuclear components reduced to ash. 4 Bangladeshi soldiers suffered minor injuries, a small but politically symbolic price for Russia's arrogance. The $50 million investment was gone. Ukraine had just carried out its most devastating drone strike of the year. Yet the real damage couldn't be measured in dollars or tons. It was a strategic chain reaction, and the shockwaves were already spreading. The fire on the tarmac instantly froze the RER project, a key symbol of Russian influence in Asia for at least 18 months. In New Delhi, India began questioning whether Moscow could even protect its own assets 4,000 miles from the front. Then came the ripple effect across global logistics. Every sensitive Russian shipment, from military hardware to diplomatic pouches, was now treated as a potential bomb. Insurance premiums soared, inspections slowed to a crawl, and Russia's supply chains choked under suspicion. In the Kremlin, paranoia began to spread.